Hey, this is Chris. Hope you're doing well, and welcome to Popcorn Finance, the show where we discuss finance and about the time it takes to make a bag of popcorn. If you were anything like me, last week was not very productive. Most of my time was spent refreshing my browser window to see what was going on with the election. So I'm happy to be coming to you this week where we know who has actually won. Takes a lot of stress off of my plate, lets me think and focus on some other things. And so today I want to jump back into our conversation on 401k plans. I had spent some time in the past weeks kind of looking at what the plans are, how they work, looking at Roth versus traditional. And I was coming up with all these questions in my mind that I wanted to answer, but I said, let me just reach out to all of you and see what it is you're looking for. And so I reached out on Instagram to ask if anyone had any questions, and I got a great response. And so I'm just going to break these questions up into several episodes over the next month or so. We'll see how long it goes on for, and do my best to work through all of the questions that you sent in. And so today I want to focus on just getting started, like the basics, and what questions focused on, how does all this work? How do you get started? Anything in that area. And so the first question comes from Michimo. And hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. And Michimo wrote, how does a 26-year-old start investing? What to read? Who to ask? Terrified. This is the exact question I got. And first of all, I want to say, if you're 26 years old and you're already worried about this, I think you're fine. You're doing great right now by just reaching out and even wanting to know what to do, because this whole investing thing, as complicated as it sounds, it's really just a time game. It's really about putting in money consistently over a long period of time. If you do that, you're going to be successful. And so if you're 26, you're already thinking about investing and you start now, you're going to be in great shape. So I wouldn't even worry at all. If you're looking to get started, to me, the best place to start is with your work-sponsored 401k plan, if they offer one to you. I know not everyone has the option to start one at their job, but if you have a 401k plan option available, it's a great place to start, because the biggest thing is you can just set up automatic contributions directly out of your paycheck, and then you don't have to even worry about it, because when it comes to saving for retirement, we are our worst enemy. We sabotage ourselves by saying, let me just pause contributions for a minute and, maybe I'll put it in next paycheck. And then we never do. And then time passes, and next thing we know, it's been like 3 years and we put no money into our retirement plan. So I like starting with work options because they're there, they're easy to set up. And also, it's a little bit of work to stop them. You have to actually go to your payroll department some places and fill out a form and then say, okay, when can this go into effect? Is it going to be next week? Is it going to be 2 paychecks from now? There's some barriers in place that make it a little bit harder to stop the contribution. So if the one is offered to you at work, it is a great place to start. If you don't know if your work offers you a plan or if you're eligible, go talk to your payroll or HR department. I worked in payroll for many years, and I got this question all the time. We were more than willing to answer this question. Actually, I was excited when people would ask me about the plan. I'm like, yes, here's the paperwork to enroll. Let's get you started. So great place to go if you have any questions about what options are available to you. For reading, I have 2 options. These are 2 of my favorites. Number 1, Broke Millennial Takes on Investing. This was written by Aaron Lowry, who I've had on the show multiple times. And it's a great, simple, plain language, easy to understand overview of investing, like the whole process of it. And I like this because you just pick it up and you can read it without having to have any past experience with finance. You don't need to have a degree. You don't need to have, studied this stuff. None of that stuff. It's simple, plain language, easy to get through. One of the books that I recommend most often to anyone who's looking for more information, more resources on investing. The other book I would recommend is The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. This is a book that I heard a lot about, and I did not read it until recently. And I love this because it's really what the title says. It's simple. It gives you a really clear path to investing for retirement. It takes out all the guesswork, gives some very simple, straightforward, direct solutions. So those are my 2 recommendations. If you're looking for who to ask, come back over here to me if you want. You can always reach out to me, questions at Popcorn Finance. If you have a question, you can send me a DM on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. Just look for Popcorn Finance. Actually, I'm Popcorn Finance Podcast on Instagram. And yeah, just send me your questions. I always appreciate you all taking time to write to me, and I try to get to them as quickly as I can. So always feel free to send over any questions you might have. And then lastly, you mentioned terrified. Don't be scared. The best thing you can do is start thinking about this stuff. You've already are in the process of asking questions and wanting to learn more, and just start putting money into this plan. Don't overthink it. Don't stress yourself out. You will do fine as long as you continue to consistently put money over your working career. You're going to be in great shape. And we have time for one more quick question here. This one is from Yoyis. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing this. It's Yoyis. I'm going to say Yoyis for now. They wrote in and asked, how many different 401k plans can you have? And the simple answer is, how many jobs do you have? I know it's not really an answer. That's more of another question. But typically, you can only have one plan with one employer. There are some exceptions to this. There are some like little, asterisks around this, and I'll explain them. But if you have two jobs and they both offer a 401k plan and you're eligible in both places, then yes, you could open a 401k plan with both employers. But the thing to keep in mind is there's one limit regardless of how many plans you have. So as of right now in 2020, the contribution limit is $19,500. And I believe it's remaining that way through 2021 as well. So that means you can't do $19,500 at one job and $19,500 at another. Most of us don't have enough money to do that anyways, but you have one unified limit across all plans. Now, back to those asterisks. If your job offers, for example, a traditional and a Roth 401k, you can contribute to both of those options. You could do some pre-tax contributions into one and some post-tax contributions into the other. But again, you have one unified contribution limit. So no doubling it up across plans. All right. So Michimo and Yoyis, thank you so much for taking the time to write in over on Instagram and share your questions with me. If any of you listening have any questions, please feel free to send them in. Again, you can reach me at questions@Popcorn Finance Podcast, or just send me a DM or message on Instagram like most of the people you will hear from did. I'm planning to come back next week to answer more of your questions. I think I'll be focusing on the 401k match questions that were sent in. So if you can think of anything between now and next week when I'm recording that episode, please send it in. As always, thank you all so much for your support and taking time to listen to the podcast. If you're enjoying it and you know someone who wants to learn more about all this finance stuff, please feel free to share it over with them. And if you're enjoying the show and looking for a way to support what I do here, I always appreciate getting your reviews over on Apple Podcasts. It means a lot and it can help some other people find the show. So thank you again for joining me here for another bag of popcorn. Hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, boy, keep it poppin' like Mary Poppins.